Welcome to Luxury in Black, where Black creativity meets luxury, culture, and conversation. I'm your host, Shari Tisdale, and each week we'll spotlight the boldest voices in fashion, design, and entrepreneurship. From local legends to global trailblazers, this is more than a podcast. It's a movement. It's about elevating Black excellence, one story at a time. Join us each Thursday at 12 p.m. on podbean.com and all streaming platforms. Let's get into it. Welcome to Luxury in Black. I'm your host, Shari Tisdale. And as always, we're so excited to chat with you. I look forward to this every week to celebrate our wonderful creators in the fashion and in all of the creative spaces. We love sharing their stories and highlighting all the great things you're doing for the culture and just for people in general. If this is your first time tuning in to Luxury in Black, we want to first say thank you. We are a dedicated platform designed to amplify the voices and celebrate Black designers, creators, and promote Black excellence that's happening in our everyday lives. Our goal is to keep a continuous conversation going on what living in Black luxury and what that looks like. And we are always proud and excited to do just that. Want to first say we're into spring. You heard me say last week, this is my favorite month, my birth month, and it is so many celebrations happening, particularly here in my neck of the woods in the heartland. We've just ended one major, it's festival city here, and we kick it off the spring heading into summer with a bang, and it typically happens beginning in May. And we just ended with one of the largest biker rally, Black Wall Street biker rallies just took place last week. That was absolutely epic. And we're sliding into Legacy Fest, which comes in and it's building off of, as many of you know, if you know the history of historic Greenwood, the 1921 Rice Massacre. It commemorates what happened here, but then it really celebrates what happened after, which was the resurgence and rebuilding of Black Wall Street that came back stronger than ever. And Legacy Fest is an impactful festival that illuminates and highlights that period in time as well as what's happening today. So if you're in our neck of the woods, the end of the month, which the massacre took place on May 31st, going into June 1st, is when the festivities begins. It's a great time to be in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And then I encourage you to just, while you come, stay, because we will slide right into Juneteenth. And as many of you may know, Juneteenth, we have one of the largest Juneteenth festivals in the United States. It takes place right here on historic Greenwood. As always, it's going to be epic. I'm going to be coming back talking about various artists that will be a part of that festival. We also will kick off with the fashion show on June 14th. And so we will be talking with a lot of the creators that are going to be taking a part of that. It was absolutely phenomenal last year, and we're looking forward to another fierce show that's going to actually take place on the streets of historic Greenwood. It is going to be just wild. It's going to be something you don't want to miss. So we're going to be sharing more details about that. But if you follow any of the socials, go to Juneteenth.com. You can get your tickets. There are VIP packages. You don't want to miss out on anything. We have events going on beginning June 14th, going all the way through June 21st. And as I said, so you start with Legacy Fest because the biker rally just ended. Just come and stay a while. We have a lot to showcase here, and that will keep things popping here in the heartland. Well, as you also know, here at Luxury and Black, we believe in legacy. We stand on the shoulders of so many phenomenal people here in our neck of the woods. And so, in with what I do, celebrating creators, I love a segment that we have created called In Review, because you have to know, you hear me saying it all the time, you have to know where you come from in order to know where you're going. And if you have followed my latest post, we have been talking about the iconic Diaper Dan, whose real name is Daniel Day, epitome of what a visionary looks like. He rose out of the heart of Harlem and a man of impeccable style, just impeccable style. And back in the heyday in the early 80s, we weren't getting a lot of looks and feels and participation. It's always been a push for us to build in this industry. And right out of the streets off of 125th Street, Diaper Dan took ownership and has just became a whole vibe, a whole thing from the 80s till today. And without any traditional training as a tailor, as a designer, he jumped right in and began to brand and create his own niche by fusing at that time Gucci and Louis Vuitton and Fendi prints and combining it and created a whole streetwear swag that absolutely just took over the hip hop culture. Artists like LL Cool J and Salt and Pepper, Mike Tyson were all wearing his designs, just to name a few. And he created just a whole phenomenon, and it just led by storm, so much so that, if you want to say, the powers that be in those places where they weren't really checking with us, tried to shut him down and had lawsuits going everywhere. But when the culture comes together, when we as a people stand up and say, no, that's not going to happen, we have so much power. And that's absolutely what happened. It did not shut him down. As a result, it was maybe a decade or so later, but the very same people who were trying to shut him down came back to him in 2017, and he launched the first ever of its kind partnership with Gucci. And he was able to do it, and it still stands on his own terms. He is a global icon. He is a mentor. He is now also an author. And he has become the blueprint for what we call fashion resilience, and proof that style has no boundaries and that you can do anything when you have an imagination and you don't allow yourself to be limited. So here at Luxury and Black, what we always do is we love to celebrate our icons, our trailblazers, and we absolutely salute Dapper Dan. We see you and we celebrate you. And so if you get a chance to check out the visuals that we have put out there, you can see a lot of his clothing. I'm sure many of you are very familiar with him. And as you know, we're still talking about the Met Gala and the dandyism. And as I said, Diaper Dan was just kind of the epitome of that. If you go back and check out some of his styles and the influence, you will see it and experience it, as well as a lot of the Black creators that were all a part of that. But I do want to tap into a little bit of what's happening in beauty, what's happening on the fashion scene. We're still talking about, a lot of our Black designers that took place, that were part of the Met Gala, that have been a part of the red carpets, as you've heard me say before. I'm so excited to see the resurgence that is happening and recognition that we don't often see, but really getting a lot of play on a lot of the major stages, highlighting a lot of our Black creators such as Laquan Smith, Sergio Hudson, John Christopher Rogers, Hanifa, to name a few. There's Brother Valley, Aurora James, who is amazing, Brandon Black. Blackwood, who I absolutely love. You've got incredible stylist, Jay Boland, that's killing the game and doing just major, major things in the industry. But we're also really leaping and taking leaps in the beauty industry. And one that we've had on our show, huge favorite of mine, Kim Roxy with Lamique Beauty, is just on the move. She's actually right now traveling, has a whole travel show that's out on the road, but that's really branding and really talking about the importance of clean makeup and the rise of it. And excited to see her leading that charge along with Bread and Beauty Supply, and Topicals are a few other brands to take note of that are really investing in clean ingredients that are very authentic, but really understanding the why you want to make sure that what we're putting on our face, on our bodies, are really benefiting us. It's more than just looking beautiful. You also have to make sure that we're putting the right chemicals in our bodies that are not toxic. So if you haven't heard her story, particularly Kim Roxy, check back on a couple of weeks ago. We had her on and she talks about the importance of beauty, but, using it correctly and being aware of what we actually put on our skin. And as I said, understanding the whys. Again, you heard me, we've been talking about what colors are hot, what's moving. Polka dots, I told you, are really in, replacing a lot of the floral prints. Pastels are the whole new rage, very muted colors. Again, talking about skincare, the look is very natural and, it's about having a glow, an inner glow, as well as how you utilize your pop of colors, which the pop is leaning toward the berries and the colors and cherries that are adding that flavor. But again, very soft tones, and you're just letting your inner beauty just rise up. Well, as we're getting ready, we're going to have a expert joining us today. I'm super, super excited. Her name is Bryanna Davis, and she is a true expert in the beauty industry. She's a woman of many talents and inspiration. So when we talk about essence and glow and inner beauty, this is a story you don't want to miss. You want to understand again about the whys and where beauty really comes from and why it is inside out, not always outside in, but inside out. And Brianna's going to share and talk with us about that. So stay tuned. We're going to be right back. We're going to take a quick break. And when we do, we'll have Bryanna Davis. Stay tuned.
At Rubicon, we believe every meal should be an experience. Nestled in the heart of North Tulsa, we bring you bold flavors, locally sourced ingredients, and a dining atmosphere like no other. From our signature dishes to expert crafted cocktails, every bite tells a story, perfect for any occasion. Live music on Thursdays with house band Upscale Smoke. Rubicon is not just another smokehouse, it's a whole vibe. Join us at Rubicon, where taste meets tradition. Rubicon Restaurant, the Upscale Smoke experience.
Hello.
Hi, Brianna. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
I am doing fantastic. I'm
Okay.
excited to have you on.
I'm excited to be on. Thank you so much.
Oh, well, I have been following you for years and absolutely, just the pure essence of beauty inside out. I love following and seeing everything you're doing in the industry as well. I did not mention you also have a flawless, amazing voice. You're a woman of so many talents. It's crazy.
Thank you so much. I
So
really appreciate it. Yes, ma'am.
Oh, I appreciate you. So let's just jump right in. Tell us a little bit. You've been in the beauty industry. It's a part of your ministry and everything that you do. Tell us how your journey began.
My journey began, my mom is a hairstylist, and I started assisting her when I was 11 years old. So after school, middle school, I was coming to work with my mom where she started me out mixing color, working. That was my first assistant job. That was my first receptionist job and first job as a stylist. I started taking appointments in one of her booths when I was 15.
Wow.
Um, like, I don't know if I'm supposed to say that, but that's the truth. Well, I won't worry about State Board right now because they don't. I mean, that's years ago. So, so I started there, but I recognized the type of conversation my mom was having with her customers. It wasn't only just hair; it was absolutely ministry for her. And I noticed like all the Azusa French rolls and all that stuff I was seeing.
Oh, yeah.
It was amazing to be a child watching my mom not only just do hair, but speak life into her clients, talk them through different situations that different situations they were experiencing just in life, but being more than just hair. And I knew that I wanted to do that. My dad was in ministry,
Right.
so I was watching them both do this, and I'm like, wait a minute, I want to do this. I feel like I'm called to this as well. So I began doing that at a very young age. So 15, taking those appointments, and that's when counseling and ministry began for me as a young girl. So I was in a group for 10 years as well, kind of around the same time up until early young adult ages. But I was traveling and singing, ministering with in a group called 1GOP, and then I was doing hair as well. So that mixed together just made me have an even greater passion because I knew that I was called to speak life into the inside of women and whoever sat in my chair, honestly, because sometimes I cut hair. So there's all type of people that would sit down in the chair, and I would really ask God, whatever you want to say to them through me today, I'm available. I would make myself available in the spirit and in the natural
Wow.
to be able to be present for whoever is sitting in my chair. So it's always just more than just hair for me.
And that is so powerful. And it's really really truth because, and when listening to you, because that experience, when you get the right one, is so therapeutic that
Mhm.
time. For women, that is really and particularly African American women, that can be what we really call our self care, the moment, that time that we really take out for ourselves to pour into ourselves.
Mhm.
And the beauty of what you offer in your gift, because that is such a precious time and it is to really be poured into. And it is so much more than just the hairdo, or
Mhm.
the look that you come out with, because the way you feel when you leave, when it's done correctly,
Yeah.
is immeasurable. And it is life changing. I always say you lose a hair, it's like a doctor. You never want to change once you find that right hairstylist and doctor, and that you don't ever
Absolutely.
want to change.
Absolutely. That's so true.
You panic, when you talk, when they say they're leaving or
Right.
going a different, and I remember that. And I have followed your mom and seen her in the salon, but also relationship, when you said Azusa and your mom and SL, who they were just right that whole period, but
Yes.
that it was such a moment. And
Mm.
so I know exactly what you're talking about because I about passed out when SL said he was leaving the state.
Right.
You were like,
Absolutely.
I don't, you just didn't know what you would do. So I know as you have built your clientele and you do combine both because you do hair and makeup,
Yes.
right?
Absolutely.
So
I
you get the total essence.
and the thing with makeup for me, I would say, when in my younger years, I thought that I needed it to be beautiful.
Mm.
I thought that, and some of the people that I considered mentors, I thought that we all just needed that to be pretty. And I had to learn, I went a year not wearing makeup at all because I
Wow.
wanted to disassociate myself with the thought If I don't wear this, I'm not gonna be pretty. If I don't wear this, my husband's not gonna find me. Like, that thought was in my mind as a teenager, and in some moments, I was told that, "Hey, how do you expect your husband to find you if you don't have makeup on? You need to put that on." And so I
Mm.
had to disconnect from that thought and really get free from that thought. Sometimes we really have to be most oftentimes we have to be freed from the dysfunctional thoughts and the dysfunctional seeds that were planted in the inside of us as children. So those thoughts I had to really get rid of. Went a year not wearing makeup at all, and then I started exploring it from a healthier standpoint. What products do I want to use? I have sensitive skin, so if I try it on my skin and someone else has sensitive skin, this could also be something that can break them out if it broke me out because I have really sensitive skin. So I started using makeup again, just adding those different products, trying different looks on me before I do it on someone else. So it's become a therapeutic thing and something that I just like, not something that I feel like I need in order to be beautiful. I learned that the beauty that God created within me is that came from him. So listen, if anybody had a problem with the way I looked, then you gotta just go ahead and talk to God about it.
I love that.
Because this is me. Whether I wear makeup or not, I believe the truths that God says about me. And I believe that if every woman takes that on, the thought of I'm not pretty unless I have makeup on will
Mhm.
absolutely be gone because it's just an unnecessary way to look at it. Let's just enjoy being women, being girls. You wanna try that blush, try it. But just know that just because you have this blush on doesn't mean that that is what makes you pretty.
Now, how do you convey that? And share that with your client because and I'm thinking, because typically when you're coming in for for your appointment, that is your mind, your thought process is I'm coming so I can be glamified,
Mhm.
from that and from an outside
So
perspective.
so
How do you pour into them?
I say to them, I've been saying kinda for a while now that I'm 38, I've been having conversations with women in a way to where I'm saying, what we're doing right now is enhancing what's already present.
Mhm.
So you being beautiful is already present, but how do you wanna enhance that? What
Right.
what what look are you going for? And they're seeing it from a different perspective because it's like, "Oh, wow." I've gotten responses like, "Oh, wow, I thought that I needed that in order to just look good."
Mhm.
No, we're enhancing what's already there, and what everybody else may see as imperfections is beautiful to someone else. So we can't go off of man's thoughts because everyone is gonna have an opinion. Everyone is. But
Exactly.
the opinion of others cannot run your life, and I've seen what it can do by experience. So I usually talk from that perspective so that we can be in a healthy space even while doing the makeup. We're going for this look this time, but if you don't wear this look every day, it's okay.
I love that. I absolutely love that because the blessing in that, the benefit is that you come out with so much more because you come out with a different set of confidence about yourself that you didn't even realize because maybe no one's ever, spoken
And those things.
positive word, affirmation into you. And you walk away with something that is, like you said, far more valuable than a new colored lipstick,
Absolutely. And
you know.
if you wanna try something new, a new pop of color, it's absolutely fine. When people ask me, "Do you feel like you need makeup in order to be pretty?" Or do you feel like or why do you wear it every day? I wear it because it's just become part of my daily routine. When I'm getting
Mhm.
ready, doing my makeup, I am having conversations with God. I'm talking through things. I'm affirming myself. I'm reminding myself of God's plan for me, the things that He's spoken to me and what I'm counseling, whatever negative thought may have tried to come into my morning, I'm shutting that down while I'm doing that. It's just become a part of my daily routine where I get to just talk through whatever it is. And that's just one point of my day where I'm talking through. But I in those moments are just
Mhm.
perfect times for me to talk through whatever it is that's necessary for me to speak over my day and my life in general.
I love that. And if any of you have, and I will encourage you to follow Brianna, and absolutely gorgeous. So, when they pull up, they're gonna be like, oh, whoa, wow, wait,
Thank you so much.
because you are, but you're really seeing. What I'm hearing is more of the why. You know what I'm saying? And which is so beautiful because you do have such a just pure radiant glow that really just leaps off the pages, of your pages. So, there's so much more than it's not just a pretty face,
Yeah,
because you're absolutely gorgeous.
thank
Just all of that is there, but it's so much more than that. And it was, I was really wanting to tap into, where that inner glow, because we all really want that.
yeah.
We want that part to come out, and that's what you see.
And I would even speak to that more from a deeper point of being a child that struggled with insecurities. I struggled with insecurities with my weight and the way that I looked. And I took on some of those seeds that were planted at a young age that I wasn't pretty, you know? I took those things on as a kid and I really had to do some deep work. And most times, whenever people are struggling with themselves, they're skipping those deeper inner workings that need to happen so that we can disassociate with dysfunctional reasoning for having confidence. But and then leaning into the healthier understanding of what beauty actually is and where it comes from. It comes from God, and it is you can lean into it in a different way whenever you have allowed God to transform you from the inside out. And I think that leaning into that truth has been life changing for me because my thoughts, what I entertain in my thoughts about me, is just
Hmm.
and the struggle that I went through trying to almost harness and nurture negative opinion and positive opinion at the same time just wasn't healthy for me. So taking 3 or 4 years, kind of getting away from home base a little bit too, and recentering myself and doing the work where I had to cry every single time I was talking to God. As long as I needed to do that, I did it
Right.
because that is what was necessary for me to heal in areas I didn't know I needed healing so that I could see it all differently. So I would encourage someone to take the time to work through the hard things, work through things that make you feel insecure about your look, about your style, and about who God created you to be so that
That
you can actually see yourself differently and see yourself through God's eyes, not this distorted, dysfunctional thing that even the world tries to give you or show you.
and that's so powerful. But how those, because we all have struggle, we all have those things, those secret places and excuse me, and thoughts that, we're always putting on a mask. And which, I love what you're sharing that, don't allow makeup to become your mask. And that's what I'm feeling from you that, it's something we can hide behind.
Mhm.
And you're really kind of unveiling that. But how did you take that initial, because none of us like to really do the hard stuff.
Right.
So what ignited or what caused you to take that step to say, you know what, I got to do this?
When I realized that it had been years since I had a panic attack. It had been years. And I was on a stage about to sing worship, and someone said something to me about my weight right before we started worship. And I was like, about to completely panic so bad to where I could barely sing those songs. So I was kind of like lip singing and I realized like, hey, no, I need to deal with why that affects me whenever other people have opinions about me.
Mm-hmm.
I have to deal with that because I have been bottling up so much that really, one, yes, they were wrong for saying something to
Right.
me and making me feel completely uncomfortable and out of place right before worship at the same time, even in forgiving them for that moment of just irresponsibility with their language concerning me. I had to go to that 14-year-old, 13-year-old girl, and even younger, honestly. Oh man, fifth grade. I had to go way back when that one boy said, "You're not going to be cute until you lose weight." I had to go to that moment and remember what that feeling was. That feeling was the exact same. So I had to journal. So what was I going to say? I have journals basically to where I label them for each month. So in that month, these are the things that I dealt with, I experienced, I overcame, I got free from or released. So I had to go and write down what all these feelings were and what these moments made me feel, even if it was tears all over the page. I needed to get it out so that I wouldn't let those moments rule me anymore or make me feel so overwhelmed to where, oh my gosh, I don't know what people are going to think of me whenever I go into this room. Sometimes we have an overwhelming sense of anxiety because we don't know what people's responses are. Instead
Mm-hmm.
of instead of going in saying, no matter what anyone's response is of me, this is who I am. I'm going to walk in here boldly, confidently as who I am without fear or question of what thoughts someone may have. So, but without me going to that little girl, sometimes we
Mm-hmm.
have to deal with the little girl us, and that's okay. Sometimes we have to go to our childhood and deal with the
Right.
roots so that we can actually pull those up because that's where that started to where I could be a young adult and be in a moment to where I'm like, whoa, that feeling is familiar, but I buried it and I numbed it out so much to where I have to go digging. I have to dig through it because I don't know what everyone else may not numb out in the same way. So we numb out in different ways. We find a substitute so that we won't have to deal with the hard stuff. But it was
Right.
that breaking point. That was that breaking point for me to where I'm like, okay, this is the rank for me. I'm going to deal with this stuff because I don't want this to have me in bondage anymore. I'm tired of being overwhelmed walking into a room wondering what someone's going to think. I'm tired of second guessing what I have on because I don't know what the response is going to be.
Mm.
I
That's so real. Yeah.
really had to be okay with me because I'm like, I am not going to start having panic attacks for somebody else's irresponsibility and opinion. I'm not doing that. So that moment got my attention. Like, hey, you have gone years wondering what people think of you. You have gone years being insecure walking in certain rooms. You don't know if somebody's is holding unforgiveness right there in the corner, or if someone knows about something that you didn't necessarily do the best or make the right decision in. That's too much for us to take on. And I realized that I had enough of taking on things that weren't my responsibility. I have to
Oh,
get healthy
mm.
because I'm showing up for myself. So I realized like, oh, what's been happening is I haven't been honoring myself well. I've been honoring myself according to how other people honor me. And they don't honor me based off of how God sees me. They honor me
Right.
off the conditions that they have in their heart concerning me. That's not healthy for me to take on because I'm just going to continue to be a dysfunctional mess. And I knew that that's not the life that God wanted me to live. So I had to do the change and not, that's even accepting the fact that people will not apologize all the time. People will not own up to what they said wrong or what they did wrong to you as a kid. But you doing your part is what changes it all. It changes the complete trajectory because I'm making sure my thoughts are aligned with God concerning me. And everybody comes to that breaking point to where they're like, okay, no more. And I just realized I hadn't been honoring myself the way that God would want me to honor myself.
I love that. And that is so, so valuable because we don't oftentimes really understand the how and
Mhm.
that it is really okay for us to honor ourselves.
Absolutely.
And, and in the way that God honored, not in a, you know, conceited, none of that, but through
Agreed.
the eyes of God, how he sees us, how he's created and his purpose. But in doing that, it is so important that we have to have ownership of it
Absolutely.
and know that that's okay,
Mhm.
you know? And I love, love, love that. Now, and when you took those steps and healing yourself, was that a long time, you and God? Did you also have additional help or support group? How did you really work through that?
So I accepted the fact that you can have a therapist and be having a great day. I would talk to a therapist on my great days, on my interesting days, on my indifferent days, and the hardest days, the most challenging days. I don't really like to call any of my days bad, but I had some challenging days. So those challenges I was able to talk through with some safe spaces as well as therapists, as well as just me and God moments, private
Yeah.
time, fasting and praying. I remember being a young girl and every week I would fast for something. And whenever, friends and stuff start joking on me like, okay, you're fasting again. Let me guess. Okay. You can't eat this because you're fasting. Oh gosh, you're always fasting. I stopped fasting as a kid because I didn't want them to say that to me anymore.
Wow. Okay.
But it's like, oh no. Oh, wait. Let me go back to what I know works. Cause that was really keeping me, keeping me
Right.
in the place that I needed to be. So I went back to what I knew worked. God, God first, sacrificing whatever I needed to, especially the things that I was using to numb my real feelings out. I had to wean myself off of these different things because it's like, I don't want to walk around numb anymore either. I
That
got to
right
face
there.
and I accepted the fact that, hey, I'm acknowledging this hard truth. I am numb and I cannot do purpose fully numb in any kind of way. But I need to be
Mm,
shown how to live life healthier than I've lived it. What does that look like? What does a healthy life look like for me?
right.
In this season right here that I don't understand, what would you have me do? And I listened to instruction and I followed them and it helped just change my life completely.
That is absolutely because you have a podcast as well that's called Safe Space. Is that correct?
Well, it's called Safe Nights and it
Safe
talked
Night.
about
Okay.
yeah, it talks about having your safe spaces and being open to your safe spaces and being honest. If you can't be honest in your safe space, are you really safe? How safe are you?
Mm,
And I that came about, that podcast even came about when I was in a very unhealthy relationship. God heard the Holy Spirit ask me, "Do you feel safe?" And my answer was quickly, "No. No. I don't." Okay. Come get back to safety. I knew what that looked
wow.
like. So I didn't necessarily need a whole lot of instruction because I knew I did not feel safe. But God helped me identify the fact that I was not safe and I was trying to make myself safe in an unsafe space. And I realized just how important the people who have been safe for me, how necessary it was for me to actually be honest in those safe spaces. And though the safe spaces that I was able to actually be completely transparent in helped me come out of that dark space. And I realized, hey, some of the stuff that I shared when I was a younger kid, I thought that I was safe, but I really wasn't. I wanted to be safe, but I knew that some of these people weren't safe spaces for real. So it all gives an open space for people to say what it actually means to them to feel safe. I always ask every person, so what does it feel to you? like for you to be safe? What does being safe mean? And they usually answer that question. And when we go deeper into that, it's like, we don't really talk about being safe, but a lot of people don't talk about it because there is a part of them that's kind of numbing out and forcing themselves to be safe in spaces that they're really not safe in because this is what they're used to. The familiarity can keep someone in an unsafe space because if they change up, then it can mean more trauma.
Mm-hmm.
It can mean more stress. So we go along to get along, but we don't always have to do that. We don't have to do that. We just make ourselves do that. And I really like to get an understanding or hear different people shed light on why they may have done it. And I know I didn't want to lose my friends. I didn't want to lose connection.
Right.
To say that I went through another breakup. I didn't want to say all that stuff, so I just wanted to push through. But that's not, we talk about unconditional love, long suffering. Some things we force ourselves to be long suffering in that God didn't call us to be long suffering in.
That part.
We put that
We
on
will do that. Yes.
absolutely. We put this on ourselves as if God called us to it. You're right about the scripture saying this, but maybe your perspective just needs a little adjustment. I can't even call someone wrong because we learn these behaviors as young kids. We saw all the adults do it as children. No matter what we are, we saw dysfunction growing up. So we start forming our lives based on the dysfunctions that we saw, or we decided to be free from the dysfunctions that the adults around us didn't choose to be free from. But it's really on us to decide and choose, do I want to fake my way through life and act like I'm okay? Or do I really want to be okay? And if I really want to be okay, then that means, and if I really want to be safe, that means that I'm going to have to give up some stuff that I thought that I was going to be a part of. I have to walk away from some spaces that I don't necessarily want to walk away from because my freedom looks different than what I thought it did.
Exactly.
And it doesn't include all the people that you grew up with, and that's okay.
When you talk about that, a friend of mine that also has a beauty care line, Kim Roxy with Lamique, and she talks about the toxins that we put into our skin and why she created the product that she did on clean makeup. But then listening to you as well is really getting the real understand the utilization that it's not wrong to use, but how we do things and the things that we don't want to let go of. And the part that you talk, just because we're familiar, whether it's literally killing us, just to speak, we're damaging ourselves daily by staying with, but the fear of freedom that, really stepping into the new that why would we want to numb out? I mean, that is so real to me. I'm like, oh my God. But you can really, we really do that.
We do that subconsciously because it's just a normal thing. And even whenever you're talking about, you were just mentioning your friend's product. I cannot wait, but I've been working on a vegan line. It's
Awesome.
a vegan makeup, hair, skin, all skin types line for all of us. And I honestly can't wait to launch it. But when you think of all the things that are put into products and how it affects us, how it affects our hair, some things say hair growth and it actually makes your hair come out. We just don't know what's in a lot of different things. But relationally, we also can look at that like, hey, this may be a friend that you've had for so long, but you sit down and you really think, like, wait a minute, but that friend always takes jabs at me in different moments or wants to do this one upping thing, like I'm gonna do this, but I'm gonna do it better kind of thing.
That's real.
Not a healthy person. This person may have been in your life for 30 years, 10 years, 5 years. this may be one of your closest friends you think. Are you, if being healthy includes walking away from some people that are the closest to you because they're not healthy for you, are you willing to do that? My answer,
Wow. Yeah,
as a
that's
child,
real.
absolutely no. But as an adult, I'm like, absolutely yes. It's uncomfortable. It is. Getting free from things, getting to safety brings a level of discomfort that is inevitable when you are seeking out a healthier life. You realize all the things that are unhealthy for your body, for your skin, for your hair, for your life. It's an all-in-one thing, and you can't leave out anything, because when you do that, you're forcing yourself to stay in a space subconsciously that you're saying that you want to move away from,
That you don't.
but you don't,
Right.
because you don't want to hurt people. I mean, that people pleasing is pretty strong on us too. We
Yeah.
want to please everyone, and the truth is everyone's not going to be pleased. Are you okay with that? You have to be okay with that. You have to be okay with the fact that someone's going to be disappointed. Someone's not going to like the way that you're moving, but eventually they'll understand, because you're following God for your life, not not theirs. That's
Mhm.
their responsibility. So it is an all-in-one thing, and it really makes you sit down and get a healthier perspective on all areas of your life. And having to do that, me having to do that the last 5.5, 6 years of my life has been challenging, to say the least. It's been very challenging, but very necessary. So it set me up for the rest of my life. And I heard the Holy Spirit say, like, the rest looks different. And the rest looks different intentionally, but it doesn't look different without faith steps, even if everybody or some of the people that you love so much get uncomfortable.
That's a whole word right there. And that, and that is, and it's so true. And sometimes when we hear God and you know that to be true, the fear of the unknown, the fact that we can't control it, we can't manipulate it, we can't, decide who gets to come to the party or not, hang
Yeah.
out with us. And it is so amazing when when you really stop and reflect, like, wow, we literally will walk away from what God has said
Yeah.
and we know is absolutely the best thing for us. And
Absolutely.
we'll go the other way just because of the things that I pointed out that,
Mhm.
so we'll stay in chaos. It is like, wow.
Absolutely, we will. Because we think that we need to, and we've seen it so much. It's almost natural for us to do things in a dysfunctional way, because it's been the norm our whole lives. We know what to ignore, what 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 to go ahead and do even whenever you don't want to. And it's actually okay for everyone not to really know how hard you've been working this week. And on this day, I know that's a big event. I know it. But on this day, I need to rest and not feel bad for it.
Right.
We feel bad for simple things like that
All the time.
all
Yeah.
the time, because someone's going to give you, so it's going to be some kind of silent treatment. It's going to be some kind of attitude. And when we really think about that, those are abusive behaviors. But we don't call it that because we really pacify these behaviors and call them like normal. Oh, no, they're just kind of upset. No, they're being abusive, actually. We just don't want to use that word.
Use that word. Yeah. We don't want to call it what it is.
What
That's
it is,
true.
because we sugarcoat so much, and we're so used to doing that. And I want to believe the most positive thing in anything. But when I had to sit down and be real about what certain behaviors were and what I was accepting, I had to acknowledge it for, like, hey, let's put this in black and white right now. This is what the reality is. Do you want this reality, or do you want a healthier one? I want a healthier one. Let me put in the work. And I would encourage anyone to put in the work that's necessary for a healthier reality, not just a healthier reality, like, you know, when we're talking about healthier reality, the way that God sees us having
Right.
reality, the way that we are actually able to live in freedom if we just do our part. And our part is beyond the surface, and beyond the surface is where people usually don't want to go. I just know I had to do that. I had to go beyond the surface if I wanted to really heal and see myself free for real.
And girl, I absolutely love
Mm.
everything you're saying, and I want to ask, because you're very authentic, and as I said, your essence. So, and I'm marveling at God because, as I said, absolute gorgeous.
Right.
Your gifts and hair and beauty, and how, and then, but the purpose that God has for your life, and with the gifts you have, you would think would be just would be encouraging the opposite, because it would be all about the physical my look on the outside. And you give all of that, but it's like, but if they come and sit in your chair, so I'm going to ask you that question.
Yeah.
If you summed up your brand of service, as someone come when they sit in your chair, and I want to ask you what the name of your, is it, how do you pronounce it? Is it
Eminence.
imminence, what that means?
Oh, yeah.
And then when someone coming in, when they sit in your chair, how would you describe your brand of service? What are they going to leave with?
So eminence means luxury. Eminence means high quality, high value, high respect. And with that, with me finding that word and looking up the meaning, the definition is everything opposite of what I believed of myself as a kid. But this definition is everything that God believes about us as our Father. And so that's what I am reminding each person that comes in. Whenever they leave, they should leave with a gentle reminder of how amazing they are, a gentle reminder of how beautiful they are and how necessary they are. There's affirmations that I usually prepare for each person. If I don't write it out, I'm saying it while they're getting their hair done. So when they leave, they should be empowered to be all that they've been created to do and be. And just remember, like, wait a minute, I don't have to work hard to convince someone that I'm amazing. God already says that about me. And you can humbly say that and know that within you and not go around those spaces trying to prove anything. So I'm going to stand boldly in who I am and be confident no matter what someone may say against that, because I know where the truth comes from. Just like we say, I know where my help comes from.
Right.
Well, the truth comes from also. So just apply that truth to your life and they walk out with that every single time. At least, I pray that they do. And when I hear responses, that is the feedback. And I'm grateful for that.
That is absolutely, when I said you get so much more, and I'm just in my head, I'm a very visual person. So and listening to you, you leave completely radiant, because your skill and, as I said, technique and gift in terms of what they came in there to obtain in terms of a physical, physically, the hairdo, the makeup, over, they're going to get that, but they leave with so much more that what they end up seeing, the reflection back is so much greater
Yeah.
because it's coming from a whole different, it's a whole inner thing that has transformed, that you leave out, and it's not even something you can't even put that in a bottle. You know what?
Yeah. Yeah.
You can't get that. That is absolutely, just awesome. And I've been, as I said, been following you and listening to bits of you sharing parts of your life and your story,
Yes, ma'am.
but really being able to have the opportunity to really hear your heart and what you have to offer. But as we wrap up, people
Yes.
are, as I said, if you go and look, you're definitely gonna want to come in and have the experience.
Mhm.
And how will they contact you?
So my Instagram is Eminence Beauty Co. That would be the Instagram, and I've relocated to Frisco, Texas, and signing
Oh,
I'm signing my, contract for
wow.
my salon suite today. So I'm really
Congratulations.
yes,
Oh, wow.
thank you so much. So I'll be coming back and forth from here to Tulsa twice, 2 or 3 times a month to do hair because I still have clients there. So, Eminence Beauty Co., and then I will have my salon suite on there soon and a contact number as well.
Awesome. And that is awesome. But they can follow you on Instagram
Yeah, Instagram, and I'm working on my website as well. So all of that will be updated on that Instagram so they can get me through website, phone, and then they'll know where the salon suite is as well.
that is amazing. Well, congratulations
Thank you so
your
much.
on this next step in your journey. We will definitely continue to follow you. We will also list your information on luxuryandblack.com on our website. So if they miss that, they can link directly to you. But
Yes.
I want to say thank you so much. And oh my
Thank
gosh, didn't know
you.
you were in the middle of a move. As I said, I know you're always doing so many wonderful things, but congratulations on this new step. And I appreciate you taking time to join us. We will continue to follow you and always celebrate you.
Thank you so much.